Good evening, everyone. Anchor Ekundayo here, and welcome to a special investigative explainer. Tonight, we're taking you straight into the heart of Ogun State to unpack a high-stakes, meticulously planned criminal plot. Through the eyes of the So Safe Course investigators, we're going to see exactly how undercover intelligence and some seriously sharp digital vigilance brought a dangerous syndicate crashing down right before they could strike. Let's get into it.
Here's what we are covering tonight. We'll look at the averted kidnapping in a Corsita, dive into the undercover intelligence operation, uncover the digital evidence, break down the timeline to the arrests, and finally, talk about what this means for safety among local businesses.
All right, Section 1. The averted kidnapping and ODA targeting a local distributor.
Okay, so picture this. The target is Joseph Ahmad, a local soft drink distributor operating right out of Ijua Oda. When investigators first started unraveling this plot, they quickly realized they weren't just looking at a simple opportunistic robbery. No, this was a ruthless, heavily calculated three-phase nightmare. Step 1 was to kidnap Mr. Ahmad and hold him for ransom. Step 2, steal and liquidate his entire soft drink inventory. And Step 3, which is honestly just cold, they plan to take his operational Ford bus and sell it off for parts to scrap metal scavengers. The gang's goal wasn't just a quick payday. It was the total financial extraction of a man's life and livelihood.
Moving on to Section 2, the undercover intelligence operation inside the So Safe Corps.
So, how did investigators even catch wind of this? Well, the whole counter-operation kicked off thanks to a credible tip-off from an ad hoc personnel member. Oda Area Commander ACC Data Wasiu Ayinla didn't waste a second. He immediately ordered close, undercover surveillance. And what they found? Absolutely chilling. The gang had an inside man, a Wallaby Moses, a 26-year-old, who was actually the victim's trusted driver. He was the guy behind the wheel of that very Ford bus. But secretly, he was operating as the gang's primary informant, spoon-feeding them highly detailed updates on his boss's daily itinerary and routines. But get this. The driver was really just one piece of the puzzle. Investigators soon identified two key ringleaders, and they were operating under perfect, everyday civilian cover. You had Ayodeji Fatolmi, a 31-year-old shawarma vendor who was actually the mastermind calling the shots. And his main recruit, Rashid Oyakunle, a well-known local hip-hop artist, brought in as the muscle to physically execute the crime. To the community, they were just friendly, familiar faces, right? But to the So Safe Corps, they were high-priority targets, secretly embedding a criminal syndicate into the daily fabric of OTA.
Section 3. Uncovering the digital evidence and the crucial intercept.
Now, trailing suspects on foot is great, but in today's world, you need the digital receipts. And investigators expertly intercepted the gang's digital footprints, which gave the So Safe Corps total tactical superiority. We're talking recovered internal WhatsApp messages and highly incriminating voice notes that these guys were using to actively coordinate their logistics. This digital intelligence was a gold mine. It confirmed the mastermind's chilling intent to squeeze every single drop of profit from the ransom, the goods, and the vehicle. Basically, it handed the investigators an airtight case before they'd even slapped cuffs on anyone.
Section 4. Timeline to the arrests. The takedown. Once that digital evidence was locked down, the clock was absolutely ticking. So let's look at how this strike unfolded. On June 10th, at exactly 2:45 p.m., that crucial first tip-off came in. Fast forward a week to the night of June 17th. This was the gang's initial planned strike date, but the special squad held their positions. They waited for the perfect moment, a final planning meeting. When that meeting happened, the squad sprang an ambush, executing a flawless sting to grab the two primary suspects. By nightfall, after some intense interrogations, they were led straight to the informant driver, a Wallaby Moses, putting an end to his run at Iju. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't that original June 17th strike happen? Well, investigators found out that behind the scenes, the plot actually collapsed temporarily. A contact of theirs, identified as Mr. Barua, just flat out refused to supply the gang with the weapons they were demanding. That sudden, massive logistical failure, that was exactly the vital window of time the So Safe Corps needed to finalize their undercover surveillance and set their ultimate trap.
I should mention, the sting operation itself required an immense amount of tactical restraint. Remember, these suspects had strong civilian covers. The hip-hop artiste especially was really popular in the neighborhood. So during the arrest, a group of local boys actually stepped in and tried to resist the officers. But the So Safe officers handled it with just remarkable professionalism. Instead of escalating things, they calmly explained the grave nature of the crimes to the crowd. They pacified the situation and made sure they could carry out their lawful duties without any violence.
At the end of the day, the true measure of this operation's success was the victim's safety. Mr. Joseph Ahmad was understandably shaken. I mean, learning your own driver calculated this kind of betrayal is a lot to process. But he was rescued entirely unharmed. He later visited the command headquarters and expressed profound gratitude to God and to those So-Safe Corps investigators who stepped into the shadows to avert a total disaster before a single finger was even laid on him.
So this brings us to a really vital question for everyone watching tonight. What does a highly professional intelligence operation like this actually mean for local businesses across Ogun State? Because the impact of this goes way, way beyond just one soft drink distributor in Igiota. That leads us into Section 5, Safety for Local Businesses in the Aftermath.
Look, when an inside threat is neutralized before a crime even occurs, it sends a powerful, undeniable message of reassurance through the entire commercial sector. State Commander Dr. Soji Gonzalo made that stance incredibly clear. He commended his investigative team and stated, "The safety of lives and property remains our priority. We will not relent until Ogun State and its environs are free from criminal elements." He really stressed that intelligence-led policing works best and succeeds decisively when the community and security forces stand firmly together.
To officially close out this investigation, all of the arrested suspects have now been handed over to the Nigeria Police Force at the Oda Central Divisional Headquarters for prosecution. As a business owner, or really just as a citizen, this leaves you with something profound to think about. In an era where inside threats are using digital messages to plot our downfall, how vigilant are we about the people we trust? And honestly, how thankful should we be for the quiet undercover operations that protect our livelihoods every single day? I am Anchored Ikundayo. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay safe out there and stay informed.